Hey guys, welcome back for Law 2, Day 2, and Law 2 is the law of influence. The true measure of leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. The law of influence. John Maxwell actually does one of my most favorite things. This is a highlight for me. He differentiates between titled leadership and true influential leadership. And he talks about how a title doesn't always necessarily mean that someone has influence. It simply means that they have a title. He talks about how a title can buy a little time, either to increase your influence or to completely undermine it. But a title is not something out of which a leader leads. A leader leads out of influence. It's interesting. My personal leadership philosophy ties in very well with this. And my leadership philosophy is this, that a leader is someone who integrates integrity and influence for the purpose of leaving a legacy worth following. A leader integrates integrity and influence for the purpose of leaving a legacy worth following. Why? Because without influence, who's following us? Who's following you if you don't have any influence? John Maxwell talks about several different myths in leadership pertaining to management, entrepreneurial knowledge, pioneer position, all these different myths that try to imitate what influence really truly gives you. And to apply this law of influence, check this out. To apply this law of influence is to step up in your leadership ability. Why? Because people will be influenced by you, and they will truly follow you. So, two things, 2 points of application I want to leave you with today. 2 points of application as you go out and you seek to influence people. First, you have to understand where you gain your influence from. Is it how you talk? Is it your personality? Is it your character? Is it your intuition? Is it the experience that you have? Is it the ability that you possess? Is it the relationships that you have with other people? You got to look at those different factors and determine where you maximize your ability to influence people from. You need to figure out what that is, and then you need to maximize your ability to influence people out of that area. Make that something that you can get to and go to in every area in which you lead, so you can gain more and more influence and thusly more and more leadership ability. The second is this that John Maxwell recommended. He said, volunteer to work with an organization in which you might not normally be accustomed to working with. And what this does is two things. First, it'll give you an ability in a fresh environment for you to be able to work on developing and increasing your influence. Second, it'll give you a platform from which you can begin to develop your influence outside of the place where you regularly are, yes, but for you to be able to do that when you perhaps go into a job, you'll be able to get experience doing that if you go and volunteer somewhere where you're not necessarily used to being, because when you step in that job for the first time, it's going to be your first time there. You're not going to be used to that environment. Can you ascertain influence? Can you gain influence? Can you increase your influence? Well, this is a great place to train. It's a great place to start. One thing that definitely strikes me that ties into the course content that we've been learning in our survey of leadership readings class is the circle of influence that Stephen Covey talks about in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders. If you look right here, you can see the circle of influence resides within the circle of concern. What does that mean? If you are influential over something, this is what I want to break it down to. First off, leaders will work on the things that they can do something about. That's that application of influence. But if you're not concerned with that which you are influencing, you are an improper steward of that influence. We have to be concerned with that which we are influencing, so we influence it for the better, for positive, so we can see that change and be proud of that change as we influence it as the leaders that we are and that we are becoming. Thusly, increasing our influence and increasing our ability to follow this particular law of leadership that John Maxwell presents, and influencing and increasing our leadership ability. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for coming out. We'll see you back here for day 3 tomorrow.